All riches, all failure, all joy and misery begin in one place, your mind. That's the truth most people never fully grasp. It is not your job, your childhood, or your circumstances that decide your future. It is the thoughts you permit to dominate your consciousness. Every success story, every fortune built from scratch, every comeback from tragedy began first in the form of an invisible seed, a single thought believed in, nurtured, and acted upon. This is not guesswork. It is law. The law of cause and effect begins in the unseen world of your inner conversation. Napoleon Hill said it best. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The reason most people stay stuck is not because they are cursed. It's because they keep planting weeds in their mental garden, then wonder why no fruit comes forth. Positive thinking is not naive. It is not denial. It is not ignoring facts. Positive thinking is a discipline of choosing to believe in the invisible power you carry inside you, even when your current reality gives you no evidence. It is the spiritual law of alignment. Think failure and you collapse. Think victory and you summon a strength the world cannot see. This message is not about feel-good cliches. It's about unlocking the mechanism behind all transformation. If you have failed before, if you feel behind, if life has pushed you into a corner, know this. One new dominant thought, backed by faith, can shift the entire trajectory of your future. This lesson will not give you motivation. It will give you the master key to create your own. Every breakthrough begins in the mind. And today, we go straight to the root of all power, your thoughts. Control them, and you control your world. Before anything ever becomes real, it begins as a thought. That business, that book, that betrayal, that healing. It all took root first in the invisible world of someone's imagination. Thought precedes action, and action creates results. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you believe. That's why millions want more money, more peace, more love, but only a few ever receive it. Because wanting is passive, but belief is active. Belief bends reality. If your dominant thought is, I always fail, then your habits will reflect hesitation, your language will reflect doubt, your emotions will reflect fear, and your outcomes will echo your belief. If you think you're unlucky, your brain will filter life through lenses that reinforce that idea. You will miss the opportunity standing right in front of you because your inner conversation already decided it wasn't meant for you. But when your dominant thought becomes, I can and I will, your body, your behavior, your voice, and your energy begin to align with that expectation. You make different decisions. You take risks. You stand taller. You speak with more certainty. And slowly, the world starts to respond. Thought is the architect, designing the life you desire. Faith is the builder, laying the bricks through daily habits, speech, and decisions. Every great achievement was once a mere idea believed in so deeply that the universe had no choice but to cooperate. This is why positive thinking is not wishful thinking. It is war, a daily war against fear, against limitation, against the world's attempt to program you with doubt. You must become commander of your mind and train it to imagine not what's easy, but what's possible. Positive thinking is not fantasy. It is strategy. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You are at the mercy of your dominant beliefs. And the most powerful belief you can ever hold is this: my thoughts are the blueprint of my future, and I get to choose them. That is not motivation. That is law. Change your thoughts, and your life must obey. Your mind is a garden, and like any garden, it doesn't care what you plant. It will grow whatever you give it. If you plant poison, poison grows. If you plant nourishment, nourishment grows. Your subconscious mind is the soil, and it is always listening. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every emotion you repeat is a seed being buried deep inside, and given enough time, it will bear fruit. That's why some people seem to always live in fear, worry, or confusion. They're not cursed. They're just harvesting the crops they planted long ago. Seeds of doubt, planted day after day through inner criticism, negative speech, and emotional outbursts. If you plant fear, you will grow regret. If you plant faith, you will grow results. Napoleon Hill taught that your subconscious mind accepts repeated thoughts as instructions. It doesn't filter or fact-check. It simply obeys. That's why repetition matters. That's why auto-suggestion matters. What you say about yourself becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes your life. If your first words every morning are, "I'm tired, I'm broke, I can't," your subconscious hears those commands and goes to work making them your reality. But if your first words are, "I am able, I'm aligned, I am unstoppable," your mind begins to build a life that reflects that. This isn't fantasy. It's the law of mental programming. Winners train their minds before the day begins. They create routines that reinforce strength. Morning affirmations, visualizations, gratitude rituals. They talk to themselves, not listen to themselves. They discipline their emotions by choosing to pause, breathe, and respond, not react. Because they know, just like Hill knew, that you are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the farmer. You decide what grows. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. That's not just poetry. It's a command. If your life isn't growing what you want, don't blame the harvest. Check the seed. Examine the soil. Uproot what doesn't belong. Then plant again. Plant truth. Plant power. Plant peace. And water it with belief day after day until it becomes your life. Fear is the enemy of positive power. It is not just an emotion. It is a thief that silently robs people of their future. Napoleon Hill identified 6 basic fears that live in nearly every mind. The fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. These are not random. They are calculated barriers designed to block the flow of faith, confidence, and purpose. The fear of poverty keeps people from investing, from taking risks, from believing they are worthy of wealth. The fear of criticism makes them hide their voice, water down their ideas, and betray their own calling just fit in. The fear of ill health causes them to obsess, to imagine worst-case scenarios, and to stress themselves sick. The fear of losing love traps them in toxic relationships, silence, and people-pleasing. The fear of growing old creates bitterness, urgency, and regret. And the fear of death, that ancient root, haunts people with hesitation, keeping them from truly living. These fears infect the mind like poison, often hidden beneath polite thoughts and daily routines. But here's the truth. Fear and faith cannot exist in the same mind at the same time. One will dominate. One will drive your decisions. One will write your story. That's why positive thinking is not soft, not foolish, not fantasy. It is a form of defiance. To think positively in a world of fear is a radical act. It means you are choosing to believe in what you cannot yet see. You are declaring that what is within you is greater than what is around you. Positive thinking is faith applied to the invisible. It's standing in the middle of a storm and deciding not to bow to it. It's walking into uncertainty and speaking life over it. It's choosing peace where panic wants to live. And it's available to anyone who dares to command their mind instead of obeying their fear. Fear will always knock, but it only wins when you answer. So slam the door shut with belief. Flood the room with faith. Because once positive power enters the mind, fear has no oxygen left to survive. Energy follows belief. Every thought you think has a frequency, and the moment you choose to think positively, you raise your vibration, spiritually, mentally, even physically. People can feel in your presence, hear in your voice, and see it in your decisions. Faith, purpose, and gratitude are not just nice concepts. They are high-energy states that attract people, resources, and answers you could never force through logic alone. Napoleon Hill taught definiteness of purpose for this reason. When you know who you are and where you're going, the entire universe begins to open doors you never knew existed. The problem is most people walk through life undecided. They live in reaction. They say, "Let me see results, then I'll believe." But the positive mind works in reverse. It believes, and then results begin to unfold. Positive thinkers walk with a kind of magnetism. They become opportunity attractors. They don't chase, they draw in. Their clarity creates space for solutions. Their energy speaks before they do. Negative thinkers, on the other hand, repel. They drain rooms, kill ideas, and suffocate progress. Not because they're bad, but because their beliefs create low frequency, and the world responds to that. Picture 2 people in the same crisis. Both lose their job unexpectedly. The first reacts in fear. He panics, complains, and spirals into doubt. He shuts down, pushes people away, and blames everything around him. Doors close. Options shrink. Time slows. The The second person reacts with faith. She allows the shock, but then steadies herself with vision. She says, "This didn't happen to me. It happened for me." She leans into learning, sharpens her skills, and speaks words of power daily. Within weeks, someone she once helped reaches out with new opportunity. A new door opens. Her energy made room for it. That is the invisible law most ignore. You are not rewarded for your panic. You are rewarded for your belief. Every moment you act from fear, you collapse your power. Every moment you act from faith, you expand it. So stop waiting for proof. Let belief lead the way. Energy always follows it. And the world always meets you at the level of your dominant expectation. Positive thinking is not something you're born with. It's something you build. No one wakes up automatically filled with confidence, hope, and belief. That kind of mindset is trained, not gifted. And like any muscle, it only grows when you use it with intention. You must teach your mind how to think powerfully, how to filter the world through a lens of opportunity, not lack. That training begins in the first moments of your day. The way you rise sets the tone for how you move, speak, and respond. Winners don't leave that to chance. They command their mornings with rituals. Spoken affirmations like, "I am focused. I am favored. I am built for this." They look in the mirror and speak life. They write down their goals. They visualize a win. They fill their mind with truth before the world can fill it with noise. Because they understand your language programs your mind. What you say is what your mind obeys. If your speech is filled with complaints, sarcasm, and worry, your subconscious hears that as a signal. It doesn't care whether you're joking or serious. It takes it as instruction. And once that message is received enough times, your life begins to mirror it. That's why cutting off negative influence matters. Shut off the news that feeds fear. Block the voices that plant doubt. Starve the gossip that keeps your thoughts low. And challenge yourself. Really challenge yourself with a 10-day positive thinking challenge. 10 days. No complaining. No blaming. No doubting. No negative speech. If you slip, you start again. Why? Because you're building mental muscle. And repetition is the gateway to belief. Do this for 10 days and watch how your confidence shifts, how your decisions sharpen, how people respond to you differently. You'll see that positivity is not fluff. It's power. It's protection. It's spiritual armor. Most people live undisciplined in thought. Unaware they're sabotaging their own life with every careless word. But not you. Not anymore. From now on, your mind is a gym. And every word, every habit, every morning is another rep. Keep lifting belief until it becomes second nature. This is how you take back control. This is how transformation begins. The world responds to the positive mind. It listens before you speak. It reacts before you move. It senses your energy long before you make a decision. When you think positively, something shifts in your presence. You become lighter, clearer, more magnetic. People are drawn to that. Clients feel it. Friends trust it. Strangers notice it. In relationships, a positive thinker becomes an anchor. Instead of draining others with complaints and fear, they uplift with calm, with encouragement, with presence. Positivity and love creates safety. It creates warmth. In business, positivity is leadership. People don't follow titles, they follow energy. They follow someone who believes, someone who sees a future beyond the current problems. Teams collapse under negativity, but they grow under vision. And in creativity, the positive mind is open. It plays, it explores, it risks. Negativity shrinks your imagination. It makes you second-guess every idea. But positivity expands you. It tells you, why not? Try, go, build. You'll be shocked how many doors open simply because you walked into a room with belief instead of fear. Napoleon Hill said the world has a way of making room for the person who knows where they're going. That's not just a quote, it's a law. Negative thinkers shrink their world. They avoid risk. They delay decisions. They create reasons to stay small. But positive thinkers expand. They say yes to more. They try again. They trust the next step, even when the whole staircase isn't visible. And the world responds by bending, adjusting, cooperating. not because it owes them, but because they made themselves available for possibility. Think of positive thinking as sunlight. It grows whatever it touches. It warms frozen places. It invites life upward. Your environment, your income, your friendships, your future will grow faster under the light of belief. So be the source. Let your thoughts shine, because the world doesn't follow fear. It follows faith. And when your mind becomes a beacon, everything you need begins to move toward you. Positive thinking is the master key. Everything you desire, success, peace, healing, love, prosperity, begins in the unseen territory of your thoughts. It doesn't start with luck. It doesn't begin with connections or a perfect resume or the right timing. It starts with alignment between what you think, what you speak, and what you believe. If those three are filled with power, your life will reflect power. But if they are flooded with fear, doubt, and delay, your life will echo that too. That is the law of mind. That is a law that governs every breakthrough and every breakdown. All transformation begins with thought. All riches begin with belief. All love begins with a decision to see yourself and others through the lens of possibility, not pain. You don't need to change the world today. You just need to take control of the space between your ears. That's where the future is being built. Napoleon Hill said it plainly. You either control your mind or it controls you. There is no middle ground. You're either planning what empowers or what weakens. You're either speaking from vision or from memory. But the best part? You get to choose. And one new thought, chosen with intention and backed with belief, can change the entire course of your story. So as this message ends, let a new one begin inside you. A message of ownership, of clarity, of power. Don't wait for the world to give you permission. Speak it, think it, declare it, because your next thought can unlock a door your past never walked through. And that door, it leads to the life that's been waiting on you to finally believe. Start today, not next week, not when life gets easier. Now, begin by owning your thoughts, because every great life starts with a decision to think differently. Speak this daily. I choose faith. I choose power. I choose positive thinking. Say it until your life rises to match it. Don't just hear this. Apply it. Your future is listening. Your results are waiting. Comment, I choose positive power, below if you're ready to take control of your mind. And don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing wisdom. This is your moment. Make your mind your greatest weapon.